Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Talking with Our Traders, a Caesar Sportsbook original series. This is where we sit down with our very own Caesar Sportsbook traders and dive deep into everything NFL and college football. Whether you're looking for insider insights or you just want to hear what these pros have to say, you've come to the right place. I am your host, Cindy Edwards, and with me today, as always, is Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesar Sportsbook.
Hello there.
And Joey Fiesel, Head of Football here at Caesars.
Hello.
Okay, guys, let's dive into some college football. This is the first year of the new college football playoff format where teams will be hosting home bowl games. Joey, which home field advantage moves the odds the most?
So Texas has the biggest home field advantage here. Since 2022, Texas 12-7-1 against the spread with an average margin of victory of 22.4 points, and they cover the spread by an average of 3 points per game. So Texas for me.
I had Texas, but also had
Okay.
Georgia and Penn State to do with capacity of the stadium as well. So, although, as I was correctly pointed out to just, Boise won't have a home game because it's neutral. I mean, their capacity is only 35,000, so you get the strength of the team, but also capacity of the stadium as well, which impacts. It doesn't necessarily move the odds, but it does impact a point or a point and a half, depending on the difference.
Right.
Yeah, and stadium capacity does matter because if it's loud and you see Ohio State especially, it's always just you get a new team in there. It's going to be, if you're a Boise level, it's a different ballgame.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Texas, if Arch Manning was named QB1 tomorrow, what would the spread be for that Clemson-Texas game?
Well, for Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning, I'm giving a 3.5 point reduction to the spread, so it'd be Texas minus 8.5. Quinn Ewers has the experience. Arch Manning, obviously the succession plan. It's very clear either Quinn's going to leave this year or go to the NFL draft route. Arch Manning has the pedigree, and he has a much more athletic running ability, but I'm not sure his passing is at the level that Quinn is at this moment. So that's where we get the reduction.
Right.
I was a little bit less. I was 2.5. But yeah, we're thinking the same lines. It also confirms that when Ewers was injured, Manning played, it was Ewers' job the minute he came back. They always say you don't lose your job through injury, but if you're getting outplayed, Ewers is a way better quarterback. It's Manning's year next year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get hypothetical with it. What would you set the over-under on Arch Manning's passing total for this Saturday?
13.5 yards, so basically potential 2 passes. He does get in the ball game, and when he gets in the ball game, they know what they're going to do. They're going to do the read option with him. But there might be something where they know they're going to do the read option. They stack the box. Maybe there's something open down the field. So 13.5 yards of that happening. Obviously, if Quinn gets hurt, that would go up. But the odds of that is not very high. So
I am nowhere near that number. I had a half a yard.
Okay.
The only way he gets in the game is if Ewers is injured, or they're up so far that maybe they bring him in after.
That's possible.
Yeah.
I just think they try and win this game as quick as they can. There might be the old read option, but I think it's more to do with his legs than as opposed to his arm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think just because he will get in the game for probably that goal line scenario, and it's something that you're probably game planning if Arch goes in, he's not passing. So maybe they have Sark has a few tricks up his sleeve.
All right, favorite college football playoff round 1 game for the total to go under. Craig, we know you love unders. Why don't you start us off?
Love me an under. We're going to go Indiana or Notre Dame.
Okay.
Potential wind, potential snow. It's not looking like hitting just yet, but it was definitely one to keep an eye on. Both have got decent run games, so I think you're killing the clock. So that would be my favorite one.
I got Tennessee-Ohio State game to go under. It was 47 yesterday when I wrote this up, and now it's 46. Both of these defenses are rock solid, and there's been some issues on the offense of both sides of the ball, so I really think this is going to be kind of a gritty back and forth, run the ball, play keep away.
Right. Okay, so let's do the reverse. Favorite college football playoff round 1 game for the total to go over.
SMU Penn State over 54.5.
Okay.
SMU is going to do what they do best, and that's put pressure on this defense with pace and making moves down the field. And therefore, Penn State's going to do the same thing on the back. And we saw this Oregon-Penn State game go over at halftime last week, or 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, I like that one to go over.
It was too obvious, so I stayed away from it. I went Clemson, Texas over.
Okay.
Weather-wise, no problem. Clemson have been there before, done it. There's no way Texas can have the offense that they had against Georgia, the domination they had, and not score points this time. So I think this will be high scoring.
sense.
All right. Favorite team to cover the spread?
I got Tennessee plus 7.5 to go with my under bet.
Yep.
Same thing here, same line of thinking. I think it's going to be a kind of really slow paced back and forth game, so I think there's value in the plus 7.5.
Yeah, same angle. I like the Indiana under, so I'm going to take Indiana plus the points.
I like it. Okay, guys, pick an upset for the first round of this college football playoff.
Indiana, Signetti season in full
Really?
swing. Not sure. Really, the angle here is we're not sure how good these teams are because they haven't played much competition.
Yeah.
So I think that's really your window. If there's going to be an upset here, I think it's Indiana of kind of just Signetti. Google him, he wins. Yeah.
I'm going for two of them.
Okay.
Both Big Ten teams get chinned this week. Ohio State and Penn State.
Ooh.
Tennessee, I saw that they've already packed their flag to plant it in the middle of the Ohio State field. So.
Yeah, it's there.
All right. Who is your dark horse candidate to win the national championship?
Hoosiers are my dark horse to win. If they win, they're going to play Georgia. Of course, Georgia's going to be minus Carson Beck. And so they're going to have the best path as the underdog. Do I think any of these dark horses probably win? No. I think the class gets there at the end. But if there's anybody who can, I think Indiana has a path forward.
You've liked them all season, too.
Yeah, kind of. Unfortunately.
Craig?
It's not a dark horse because I picked them at the start of the year and they were 2-1. Now they're plus 475, so why am I jumping off the horse? Georgia.
Okay.
I like it. Okay, let's get into some game previews. Indiana versus Notre Dame. Spread currently sits at 7, I believe.
Yeah, 7.
Joey, break it down for us.
So the Battle of Indiana kicks off the new era of this college football playoff on Friday night. Both these teams had questionable schedules, to say the least, and we're going to find out which team's the real deal. Indiana is the Cinderella story.
I liked that.
Yeah, Cinderella.
I knew where you
there
were
we
going.
go. Yeah.
That would have made sense if you just, let it
ran
go.
through,
Yeah.
But they're significantly outperforming their preseason expectations. Signetti's going to have this team fired up, and they're going to come out to play. This game opened up Notre Dame minus 8, 51.5. We're now seeing the sharper money on Indiana down to minus 7, minus 15 for Notre Dame. I like Indiana in this one, like I said, and I think they could possibly shock the world here.
Notre Dame's strength is the running game, and Indiana have proved that they can stop the run. Mm-hmm. I like getting the points. Are either of these teams that we're going to talk about come the end of January? No.
Yeah, no.
All right, next up, number 11, SMU versus number 6, Penn State. Spread currently sits at 8.5. Joey, what should we expect?
So James Franklin's arch nemesis is here, and it's not SMU. It's the inability to win big games. Franklin is 3-19 against top 10 opponents, which SMU is not, but still right on that cusp. They were last week. And we'll see if he can get a win in this big game to set themselves up on a good path forward. SMU, another darling for the ACC that was not expected to be in this scenario. And especially after not winning the ACC, they still get in. You know, there's obviously some controversy there. Rhett Lashley, SMU are going to be playing with house money, and they're going to want to show the world why they were invited to the CFP so that Bama doesn't complain all off season long. Line opened up at 8.5 and has stayed there. Total, though, has gone from 53.5 to 54.5. I expect a high-scoring game, and for SMU to keep this one closer than expected.
It's one of the upsets. Penn State haven't played anybody. They can't win the big game. The only thing going for them is home field advantage. SMU's offense is great. Did they deserve to get so close to Clemson? I think Clemson outplayed them. And they lost on a 56-yard up walk-off.
Yeah.
A little bit more motivation than for this week. Penn State haven't played nobody.
Right. We've been talking about it all year.
Yeah, SMU's offense will probably be the differentiator.
Yeah.
All right, number 12, Clemson at number 5, Texas. Spread currently sits at 12. That's the largest spread of the games we're going to preview. Joey, break it down.
Yeah, Clemson comes into Texas after stealing that last playoff spot with the ACC title game. They would have not been in otherwise. Texas coming off the tough loss in OT to Georgia after Carson Beck went down. Another team that really hasn't had their big staple win is Texas, so they're coming out swinging in this one. Texas was a play away from the national championship last year, so they know the implications of such big games like this. But Dabo, he's been to the college football playoffs 5 times with a winning record of 6-4. This game definitely screams Texas, but I like Clemson to keep this one close.
Yeah.
I agree. The experience with Dabo being there, done that. It'll be interesting to see how Texas bounces back after the Georgia loss. I mean, that's probably the game of the last 2 years.
Right.
A tremendous game. Also, we'll have a rooting interest for Clemson because obviously Texas is our biggest liability going for the rest of the way. I don't know. I can sense an upset. Texas,
I feel like I can sense that too. It's
every
like
time I've seen
something
Texas play,
inside
they've
me.
not.
No wows.
No wows.
Yeah.
Latter part of the year, too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, number 9, Tennessee versus number 8, Ohio State. Joey?
In my eyes, the most competitive game of this first round.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Tennessee, both on their revenge tour, being seeded 8 and 9. The winner gets the privilege of playing the Oregon Ducks, and you know Ohio State wants that rematch. But on the other side, you see a very talented Tennessee team that has been lights out on defense all year long. This one's going to be gritty and the game that I'm looking most forward to. And I think it'll be close, and I think Tennessee will cover, but I'm not sure they're going to win.
I think if Tennessee wins it straight up, only because of the strength of the schedule that they've played.
Right.
They're battle tested. This is probably Ryan Day's last game if he loses.
No, probably, yeah.
There was
You
news
think
yesterday.
he's fired or you think he leaves on his own accord?
You shouldn't get fired.
Yeah.
You leave on your own accord.
Okay.
Yeah, I just the quality of the SEC and the experience that they've had against the better teams. Ohio State couldn't beat a downtrodden Michigan in their own yard. No, it's not for me.
I think I agree. I think I like Tennessee here.
Do you know what would be awesome, though, is if Tennessee did win and they plant the flag again for the second time.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
It's to be, there'd be
Madness.
some fists rolling there.
Yeah.
If I was head coach of Tennessee, that's exactly what I'm telling my players.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to some NFL. Guys, which is a bigger factor in the Lions Super Bowl futures shift? Their loss to the Bills or their injuries?
Injuries are the much bigger factor here.
Okay.
A non-conference loss doesn't really make that much of a difference, as they're still going to have the tiebreaker over the Eagles. The defensive injuries are a lot, and we've seen the past couple weeks with this defense, and they ain't stopping anybody. If they drop another game, it would put them in a spot without the 1 seed, which would significantly hurt their chances for the Super Bowl. So I think it's more the defense looking forward of how this team's going to compete in the latter part of the year.
You don't get punished for losing to probably the best team in the league.
Yeah,
right
right.
now. That shouldn't be it.
With
But
the
that-
MVP.
Maybe. It's not Saquon, I'm telling you. The odds reflect a couple of different things, though. Yeah, they do reflect the injuries, but also now they're in a 3-way tie for the 1 seed. They need that 1 seed because, as we discussed earlier in the year, they'll only play 3 games outdoors all year.
Right.
And they've got 2 to go, 49ers and the Bears. That's the difference. Now they're in a real heated divisional battle as well. It gets tough, and these injuries start to add up. It probably comes up with the physicality of how the team are. Like how many teams have not covered playing the Lions because how physical they are, and now it's impacting them, and they haven't stopped anybody.
Right.
And you can't rely on the Buffalo Bills of the 80s, 90s. They could score 50 a game. The minute you have a running game, it stops all that.
Yeah.
Right.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
All right. Well, can you guys break down the NFC, AFC conference winner markets?
Sure, we'll start with AFC, I guess. Bills plus 180. Obviously, the class right now of the AFC, they're just rolling through people. Josh Allen, clear MVP favorite at this point.
Right.
So I think it's deserved of them being that top spot. Chiefs plus 285. We've seen Mahomes with the ankle. He's questionable for this weekend. They obviously really want to clinch that 1 seed, which is really going to give them the advantage. But really, this Chiefs, how many one-possession games, how good are they really? Ravens plus 390, the clear third choice, maybe even the second choice if you take in consideration the Chiefs and how they've looked. And then you got Steelers outside looking in at 12-1 for that 4th spot.
The AFC is a 3-horse race for me. I can't
Yeah.
see. There's no outsider and no dark horse in this one. The problem is the road probably still lies through Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And the Bills and the Ravens can't beat Kansas City in the playoffs. So you've got to remember that. But
As
the
of
others,
yet.
well, to be the champ, you've got to beat the champ.
That is true. That is
That's
true.
Yeah.
And then NFC.
Eagles 2-1 right now. kind of having that little separation with the Lions, and I think that adds to the Lions' defense being down. Eagles, even though the drama, they're still week in and week out, kind of just grinding away. I mean, it was mine and Craig's pick to, win the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And they're really having the form. Obviously, Saquon's doing well, and if they can pass the ball more, this team is dangerous looking forward.
Starting to think they made up that drama.
They might have. Bulletin board material.
Just so that I would bet against them and subsequently lose. But go on.
Lions, still a great team, still putting up points. I mean, but it's really that defense. They're at plus 230 right now. Then you have the rest of the NFC North, Packers and Vikings, both at 6-1. Kind of looking up towards the Eagles and Lions at this point.
I think the NFC is more wide open than the AFC. Obviously, the 1 seed is huge because you've got 2 dome teams that really want to play indoors. Neither team will want to have to travel to Philadelphia with a great home field advantage. But I also see 3 teams that are punching way above their weight, and it can be very, very dangerous in the playoffs. Green Bay, Joey's Rams, and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any interesting betting trends this season?
There's a few.
All right.
Every favourite seems to be winning. Like, we think of the bad teams are finding different ways to lose games.
Yeah.
And we joked last week, the only one we're missing is dropping the ball at the goal line, and sure enough, that happened twice
We
last
said
week.
2. Yeah.
2 of them.
Yeah.
Wild.
Oh, my God. Insane.
Yeah.
This is a bugbear of mine. It's an off topic, but you've got the ball, and the most expensive commodity you have is the ball. And we saw it at the end of the bowl game last night where the guy got the pick to win the game, running around, and then they knock it out the back. Like, he got lucky because the refs overturned it, but that was debatable whether that was his knee was down. I didn't think it was.
Yeah.
But just careless. But somebody thinks the theory is they're looking at themselves in the scoreboard, and they think they're across the line, and then they're dropping the ball.
Yeah.
Which is possible.
That's possible.
Plausible.
Yeah.
But just get to the back of the end zone, run straight down the tunnel, do wherever.
Just hold the ball in front of your body.
Exactly. So here we go. Primetime favourites straight up are 39-11, which is 78% win rate. This is
Wow.
the collective groan in the trading room.
Yep.
The season average is 70%. Sunday night favourites are even better, 13-2 straight up. That's at 86%. Road favourites of a touchdown or greater are 4-7-1 against the spread, however 9-3 against the spread first half. Ravens, Commanders and Rams are the second half over machines. They are combined 19-1-1 over second half. And road favourites of exactly 3 points are 12-1 against the spread this year. And we get 3 of them this week, the Eagles, Rams and the Vikings.
Yay.
So the favorites are favoriting.
The favourites are favouriting.
Yep, they are.
Joe, any trends that pique your interest?
I knew Craig was going to have a long list, so I let that one. Let that one be.
Good for something once in a while.
So I have a question for you guys. What is the odds movement for the Chiefs if Patrick Mahomes is out of the game this week with that ankle injury?
So we saw the initial on Sunday when he was week to week was his consideration. So the look ahead last week was 4. It reopened at -3. Texans. So that would suggest 7 points.
Wow.
Too much.
It's too
much for me.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
Patrick Mahomes is at most, I think, worth 6 to this line. Again, the Chiefs' runs of wins is not a result of Patrick just slinging the ball downfield, and they're not just an offensive machine. It's their lack of mistakes that they're making and their ability to cause mistakes on the other side of the ball.
Right.
Whether that's mental, however that is, it is happening all season. So, I would say it's 6 points at most, maybe even less. It's Carson Wentz. We've seen other systems, like we've seen Kirk go to Atlanta, didn't have the same thing in Minnesota, and we've seen Sam Darnold. There's a question that he's going to get paid. Is it more of a system? And obviously Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the NFL right now, but from a betting perspective of how this team plays, it's not worth as much as the market moved.
Right. What would you say it is worth? 6, you said?
6 at most. I'd
Okay.
say between 4.5 and 6.
So you've not got to look just at the start. You've also got to look at who the backup is. And Carson Wentz
Right.
is a
No
capable
scrub.
backup, right? It's no scrub. So when it was Chad Henne before and Mahomes got injured, 6 to 7 points, I can understand the move. But this, for me, was 4.5.
Yeah.
And It's because of what Joey said. The defense has got the Chiefs to where they've got to, and Lady Luck.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
big time.
Yeah.
All right, favorite Week 16 game for the total to go under, Craig?
The biggest difference on my numbers this week is the Broncos Chargers. There's not a lot of weather to be looking at, so I had to go data this time.
Go data. I went Vikings Seahawks under 42.5.
That's
Ooh.
the only weather game.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Favorite Week 16 game for the total to go over?
Bills Patriots over 46.5.
Was
I
that
could see that.
47-0?
Yeah, I think so. No? Yeah, it might be.
No.
No, I think, the Patriots in the fourth quarter, a lot of the times they've been in desperation mode, which is going to push it over. And, Josh Allen wants to keep these things rolling, and this offense is incredible right now for the Bills. So I'm going to take that 46.5 over.
Okay.
The biggest difference on my numbers, Steelers-Ravens.
Yeah.
Lamar with the revenge game, and he keeps his MVP hopes alive for one more week.
All right, favorite Week 16 team to cover the spread?
I got the Eagles -3. The Eagles get it done.
Oh, because of
I
road
like that.
favorite -3.
For -3. And I think the Commanders are really kind of on the downward trend, and Eagles are progressing each week.
And they completely dominated them last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote this before the news came out. Giants +9.5 versus the Falcons.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that number's moved.
Yeah, the numbers moved.
Yeah. So you wrote this before they benched Kurt.
Yeah, and remember a couple of weeks ago we asked a question about Penix
Yeah.
and thing, and I said there would be a negative move against
Yeah,
the Falcons because of being a first-time starter and not
Yeah,
seeing
big
any
time.
form. So, yeah, and it happened. I think it's 8.5 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see. Okay, pick an NFL upset.
The Denver Broncos will
Yeah.
upset the
I
Chargers.
like that one.
Really?
Yeah. that's
Yeah.
what I like.
I have that written down as well.
Broncos haven't beat anybody with a winning record.
No, but I think the Chargers, this is more of a fault towards the Chargers. We've seen them without Dobbins and how significant that has been. So I like the Broncos to get it done here.
Yeah.
All right, because I owe this one for Joey. The Jets over the Rams. West Coast, East Coast,
Yeah.
weather. Aaron Rodgers wants to be relevant for a couple of more weeks. The Rams really have to win, and this is not the one you want to go to.
Yeah, they surprised me though. Because I thought that Patriots a couple weeks ago when the Rams went to New England that was going to be the same thing, but they dominated. So, but
Yeah.
I have no confidence against the Jets. It just screams like, yeah, Craig's probably going to cash that.
The only thing that makes sense for the Jets is to be out of playoff contention and then start just a winning streak to get a farther back pick. So makes sense to me. Okay, guys, build your 3-leg anytime touchdown score parlay. Craig, start us off.
So we had to take last week's down because of liability.
Yeah, yeah.
And when Josh Allen scored the first touchdown, we had a whole 59 minutes and Goff at the 1 yard line. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm fired.
Yeah.
So yeah, back-to-back weeks or back-to-back-to-back weeks, we've got 2 out of 3. I'm
It's
going
coming.
a different angle this week.
Okay.
All right. All 3 of these guys have incentives to score a touchdown because they get paid. And the bigger incentive is they can actually get me a winner for the first time in 16 weeks. So come on, boys. Mike Evans, Tony Pollard, Zach Ertz.
I like it.
I like it too.
I was
That's
going to go Giants, D, Jonnu Smith, and Lamar.
Yeah, the Giants D would be wild, yeah, with Penix. I went pretty simple, pretty chalky, what everybody wants me to
Injured
pick.
reserve again. Who are you putting on injured reserve this week?
Yeah.
Josh Allen,
Oh, no.
Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. If they
Okay.
get hurt, I apologize in advance.
You put
This is
McCaffrey on
strategic.
injured reserve?
Yeah, I
You
This
put
is
Montgomery
very
on injured reserve?
strategic.
Sure.
All right. Well, you guys at home, if you like either of these, you can tail them on the Caesar Sportsbook app. Are you guys ready for overreaction or not?
Always.
All right. Overreaction or not, the Packers are the most dangerous team in the NFC North.
Overreaction. I do think that Packers win against Seattle was impressive. And obviously you have Josh Jacobs, and they're really taking a step towards offensively. But there's still part of me that think this team is a fraud. And I know the Lions with their defense and the Vikings, who knows if they're that big explosive team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, just an overreaction. I'm not sold in the Packers just yet.
Not an overreaction. Because if you're the Bucks or Rams, you're going to get a home game in the playoffs. But then you're going to get the Packers or the Vikings or the Lions as the visitor. Packers are 10-4, having played the third toughest schedule this year. Last year in the playoffs, they were a big dog against Dallas. They literally won the coin toss, took the ball, ran it, got it straight downfield, scored, and the game was over.
Expected.
I think they're dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
All right. Overreaction or not, the Vikings should re-sign Sam Darnold.
Not an overreaction for the right price. I don't think that you have to overpay Sam Darnold. We saw last year with Kirk. We saw with Sam Darnold, who everybody had written off for many years. Be good in this system. Obviously, you have two good wide receivers with Addison. You have Justin Jefferson. You have T.J. Hawkinson. You have a good running game. You have an unproven J.J. McCarthy behind you, but I don't think you don't have to fix something that isn't broken as long as it's for the right price.
Not an overreaction, but I would trade him. And get some value out of it. Yeah, because somebody will be silly enough to look at his stats this year and a 12-win team and go, oh, wow, this is the guy. And somebody will overpay that's desperate.
Yeah.
I don't mind that either.
All right. Overreaction or not, the Chiefs will not make it to the AFC Championship game.
I don't think it's an overreaction. Whether the Mahomes injury is being overblown or underreported, him not healthy could put a damper. Again, I don't think he's worth 7 points, but he is that X factor in the playoffs, and if he's not 100%, that's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Overreaction. They've got a 2-game lead with 3 to play to get the 1 seed. There's a saying sometimes your name's on the trophy, and how lucky the Chiefs have been this year. It would not surprise me now, with their luck, that Carson Wentz wins them a Super Bowl.
Oh, my God.
Could you imagine?
That
That'd
would be
like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Look, they've got an easy enough schedule. Houston were not great last week, so they're beatable with Carson Wentz. You've pretty much wrapped up the bye.
Yeah.
Just rest Mahomes. Give him 2-3 weeks. He's got 3 weeks to rest.
All right.
And obviously Josh Allen's about to go on injured reserve because Joey picked him as a touchdown scorer.
Yeah, it was
I picked him last
all tactical. Overreaction or not, the 49ers should not re-sign Brock Purdy.
Not an overreaction. I don't think there's a need to overpay when you can replicate the same system like you have. Same thing with Minnesota. I think 49ers are in the same boat. You don't need to overpay him.
I agree. The 49ers were decimated by injuries this year. Was that Purdy's fault? No. However, Scrooge Mucklow here does not like overpaying for mid-level quarterbacks.
Right.
The sabermetric GMs should start working on the formula to go, well, he's worth X amount based on this, this, and this. The problem is they all get overpaid, and that's the problem. Lawrence got paid this summer. Awful. Tua got paid. Killed their hopes this weekend. A lot of quarterbacks get overpaid, and there's no real hunger for them to deliver anymore because it's guaranteed.
Right. Overreaction or not, Cam Ward should be the first quarterback drafted.
Not an overreaction. It all depends on what kind of quarterback you're looking for. I think Shador is also in this conversation, and I think he has better passing ability, better chance of staying in the pocket and making better decisions than Cam Ward does. But I think Cam Ward adds that dangerousness of a Jalen Hurts, of a Josh Allen, whereas he has the slighter running ability and the way to improvise a play a little bit longer. So I think, we're going to, unfortunately, we're getting into draft season where I'm going to be pulling out my hair. But I think it's 1 or 2 with them right now.
Overreaction. I certainly wouldn't pick him with the number 1 pick if I had the number 1 pick. And I don't think there's any real generational talent in the draft.
Yeah.
So I'm trading out every single time. I always have said that. Trade out stockpile picks from bad teams. You get lucky, maybe like the Bears did. You get back-to-back ones because somebody overpays. You build with longevity in the draft. Offensive line, defensive line, then you'll find a quarterback.
Typical Craig answer.
Yeah.
Overreaction or not, Kirk Cousins is washed. He's donezo.
Not an overreaction. I think Father Time is on its way, and there's no way of stopping him.
How old is he? Do we know?
He's younger than me.
I'll look it up. You keep going.
I think it's the Vikings. Again, it's proven might be a system. What I didn't understand in the offseason is why the Falcons went out and paid Kirk all that money. Then you draft Penix within the top 10, and now we have Penix playing this why not just go Penix? Either a 1-year deal for Kirk and you go Penix. It made no sense financially to me why they took that path. And now we're sitting Penix is going to be starting this weekend.
Overreaction. I don't think he's washed. I love Kirk.
36, by the way.
36. He looks great for it.
Still young.
A rich 36, as Chris Rock would say.
No Tom Brady, but keep going.
Yeah. Lack of confidence. And all of a sudden he's got the yips. Yeah, maybe there's that argument. You see it with athletes all the time. I sent you the video last night. The darts player in the World Championships on Tuesday is crying on stage because the pressure he's under. The pressure on athletes is crazy.
Yeah.
There's a horse racing terminology where you drop a horse down in class, play an easy opposition, and give him a confidence booster. So the NFL did Kirk a solid, gave him the Ravens and the Giants back-to-back weeks, but then they thought, you know what? Let's put him on prime time while we've got one of these. And it was prime time Kirk, as usual. So
yeah,
I just think it lack of confidence. That's all it is. You get a couple of wins under your belt, but maybe his next career move is in a detergent commercial if he's washed.
All right, Craig, any games that are on Weather Watch? You mentioned a few already, but break it down for us.
Yeah, I didn't realise this game was early this afternoon. The Boca Raton Bowl is going to be wet and thunderstorms, so there will be delays in that game. SMU Penn State, moderate winds and very cold. Tennessee Ohio State, very cold. And there's potential weather in Notre Dame, but you need to check that one closer to kickoff. NFL, it's going to be wet all game long between the Vikings and the Seahawks. And I think I called the 49ers one pretty perfect last week.
Yeah.
It was lovely weather. And that'll be 10-mile-an-hour winds. So dome team
lovely.
Going outside, tough stadium, bad weather. Seahawks got to get back on that horse as well.
Not a great recipe.
No.
All right, let's get into some NFL game previews. We have the Broncos versus the Chargers. Chargers are a 2.5-point favorite. An AFC West showdown. Joey, what should we expect?
The AFC West second best game on Thursday night. Broncos D has been flying around while this Chargers offense appears to be struggling with the absence of J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, in the first game, ran the ball 25 times for 96 yards with a touchdown and helped this Chargers win that game, 23-16. Justin Herbert also dealing with a multitude of injuries that he's played through. But coupled with those two factors, it's going to be all Denver for me.
If Denver win, they clinch a playoff spot, which is not good for us because we laid them in the offseason.
We did.
Chargers win, and they are 97% in the playoffs. They just need a couple of other teams to lose.
Yeah.
I agree with the spread. This is the biggest difference on my total. The Chargers won the first matchup 23-16, and it's the immovable force versus the immovable object, or whatever that saying is. Chargers are 4-1 against the spread as a home favourite. The Broncos are 4-1 against the spread as a road dog. But as I said earlier, the Broncos have beat nobody with a winning record. And it reflects because Denver's record is the 30th toughest schedule. So they've had the third easiest.
Yeah.
The Bucs are the only team with a winning record Denver have beat, and they weren't winning at the time. So, I mean, a loss is not all doom and gloom for the Chargers. They'll go down to 75% chance of making the playoffs. But this is the one that get it in.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the AFC North. Steelers, Ravens. I believe Ravens sit at a 6-point favorite. Steelers disappointed me last week. Craig, are they going to disappoint me again?
It depends if you're taking Baltimore on the spread.
We'll say I am.
Okay. We're 3-0 on the billion-point wins. And this is a billion-point win.
A billion-point winner.
Yeah, and this is obvious which way I'm going.
Yeah, of course.
Steelers have won 6 of 7 in the last 7 in Baltimore. They already won the first matchup, 18-16 this year, but Lamar had a terrible game. The Ravens still had a chance at the end. They missed the 2-point conversion to go to overtime. 3 of the 4 Steelers losses were all on the road this year, and they looked terrible against a good team on the road last week. The Eagles came to play. The Steelers, however, win the AFC North if they win. A loss is not doom and gloom. They had the tied head-to-head. They'd be tied on the divisional record, but they have a game lead on the conference tiebreaker. So if they do lose, the division's not out of the question. I have this total higher by a field goal. Lamar will keep the MVP race open for one more week. Ravens by $1 billion.
By $1 billion.
Ravens by $1 billion. I like it. Yeah, battle of the AFC North. Steelers coming off the tough loss, while the Ravens are coming off essentially a bye with the Giants. If we look at the last game, Justin Tucker missed the 50-yard field goal with 1:38 to go, which really put this for the Steelers to win.
Did he miss a couple in that game?
Yeah, he probably missed a couple.
Yeah.
And an extra point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was that end. He put him ahead, missed it.
Yeah.
Ravens want this revenge, and the Steelers want to prove they're the real deal. I don't think they will be.
Right.
The question mark with George Pickens is going to make the determining factors if he wins by $1 billion or they still win. I still think it's Ravens either way.
Yeah.
But I think it's if George Pickens out, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Lamar will take the game out of Justin Tucker's feet this week.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, don't rely on the kickers.
Yeah, don't
Right.
rely on kickers.
Okay, Eagles Commanders NFC East showdown. The Eagles are 3-point favorites right now. I believe, Joey, you said you'd lay the points with the Eagles, so why don't you start us off?
I would lay the points of the Eagles. The new big brother, little brother matchup of the NFC East.
Right.
The Commanders got away with a win on Sunday against the Saints. Obviously, the 2-point conversion missed, while the Eagles were able to shut down the drama, take the Pennsylvania NFL trophy home. Eagles are your new NFC favorite, and for a good reason. If they're going to be able to throw the ball more, maybe Craig and I preseason Super Bowl pick is looking great. Eagles dominated the fourth quarter with 3 unanswered touchdowns in their previous matchup to win by 6 in the end. I think these teams are taking 2 different paths, and like I said before, I like the Eagles.
Eagles have won 6 of the last 7 in Washington. They absolutely dominated Washington in the second half on the Thursday night game earlier. Eagles win the NFC East with a win. That's over. No opinion on the spread or total based on my data. This is huge for the Eagles because, A, you wrap up the division, but also you're keeping up with Detroit and Minnesota, who have to play each other still at the end of the year. So it's a good opportunity to have a great chance of winning the 1 seed.
Yeah.
NFC East versus NFC East. The favourites are 7-1 straight up this year. Hence, Joey's, I'm taking the points. And it's a -3 road favourite, so of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into our game picks of the week. Craig, do you want to remind everyone where we currently stand?
I would like to remind you to stop going 2-0. Because every time I go 2-0, you two go 2-0.
Well, I went 1-1, so
know.
you're welcome.
I thought the Army-Navy was going under last week. I thought I had a chance. I have got the strongest shoulders with 13 points, Cindy with 18, and Joey with 19. Leader.
Let's hold on to it.
Yeah, that means you get to
coming
go
for him.
first then with
That
your
means
picks.
I gotta go first.
Here come the tactics.
Penn State, SMU over 54.5 is my college pick. NFL, Eagles -3.
I like it. Craig?
You're ahead of me.
Oh, me. All right.
Let's go, Cindy.
Okay. There is something inside me telling me that Clemson is going to win this game. So I'm going with Clemson and Broncos +2.5.
So Clemson +12? Yeah.
Yeah, +12.
I am going back to old school because I really couldn't find anything I really, really loved. So we're going to go Indiana, Notre Dame, first half under.
Okay.
And we're going to go with the one weather game, Minnesota, Seattle, first half under as well.
Okay.
All right. Some unders for Craig. No surprises there.
Yeah, boring.
All right. Well, that concludes this week's episode. Guys, anything you want to say to the people before we end?
Good
No,
luck
it's
this
good
weekend.
luck this week, yeah.
Good luck. Happy betting. Bye.